千里之行，始于足下. A journey of 1,000 miles begins beneath the feet. We now gather in the Tao to travel the journey together. Welcome to Tao Talks with Derek Lin, where we take a deep dive into the Daodejing by Lao Zi. I would like to invite you to center your thoughts and direct your attention to this moment in time, to the here and now. To be fully present and mindfully aware as we all ready ourselves for this sacred process of the Tao. So now, sticking to the subject of the Tao, and also the subject of the good people and the bad people, I have a story that I would like to share with everyone. The story's name is called Different Appearance, and this has to do with a dialogue between a disciple and his master. Here's the story. Once upon a time in ancient China, there was a disciple studying the Tao under a wise sage. One day, the disciple thought of a problem, and it seemed like a problem that was too complex for him. He could not solve it. So he thought about it for some time, wasn't getting anywhere. So he went to the sage to request clarification. So the disciple said, "Master, is it not true you have taught us that we need to help all human beings, not just those who are good, but also those who are bad?" I'm thinking that it seems like a contradiction to me. What are the bad people? Well, Master, I think the bad people are the ones who have lost their human essence, their humanity. They are no longer humane. So how can they be included among human beings? If they're not included, if we exclude them, then why should we help them? Because did you not tell us that we need to help human beings? So the sage did not respond, but the sage wrote a character on a piece of paper. He showed it to the disciple, and then he asked, "What is this?" The disciple said, "It's the Tao, Master." And then the disciple wrote another character next to it, and then asked, "How about this one?" The disciple said, "That is also the Tao, Master." So the sage said, "How can that also be the Tao? This second character looks so different from the first one, right?" The disciple said, "Master, it is the mirror image of the first character. So despite the reversed appearance, it is actually the same character." The sage said, "Excellent. So whether the character is reversed or not, its essence remains the same. The important thing here is that in your mind, you know how the character is supposed to look, like the one on the left. So that is why when I wrote the second character, the one on the right, you could tell immediately what it is. And the fact that it is a reflective version of the first one. Now, on the other hand, think about what happens if you don't know how to read or write. You don't recognize these characters. Well, then you will not be able to tell whether the character is what it is or that a character is the reverse version of the original character. So the disciple was able to follow this line of reasoning, but then he thought about his original question, in regards to humanity, the good people and the bad people, and he's still puzzled. So he asked, How would this apply to human beings, Master? The sage explained, it is the same principle. Whether people are good or bad, kind or unkind, their basic essence is the same. The important thing there is that in your mind, you know how human beings are supposed to be, just like you know how the character is supposed to look. You understand the Tao of goodness and kindness. So when you encounter bad people, you can see that they've been distorted in terms of goodness and kindness, but then you can still recognize the essence of their human nature. Just like you can recognize that the reverse character is the same character as the original, except reflected. Then, to answer your original question, you can see that you should help them, just like you help everyone else, or the good people. The end. So that is a story about the different appearance of a character or the different appearance in human beings who may be at various places in the spectrum of good and bad. Let's break down the story, analyze its components, and then we can see how it is connected to the two lines from this chapter, which, as you can see in the bottom, it says that basically the Tao is the treasure of the kind person, the protection of the unkind person. So I've got two columns here. To the left, I have a column on the character. So the character, as you recall, is the Tao, and then the reversed image of that. And then to the right, I have a column for human beings. Let's match up the elements in the story to human nature, those people, good or bad, that we encounter in society. So the normal character that the sage wrote, the character for the Tao, looks like that. And you can see that it's exactly the same as the emblem that we have on the upper right-hand corner of every slide. And that's the character for the Tao. So the sage is trying to draw a parallel between the normal character for the Tao and human beings, the good or kind person, 善人. Now, 人 can be singular or plural, depending on the context, and therefore, this can be good people or kind people. And remember, there's also the tangential meaning of being good at life, skillful in the art of living. So this is the correspondence. Then, the sage wrote the reverse character, which, as you recall, looks like this. It just flipped horizontally from the normal character. So this, the parallel here, is what the sage is pointing to as being similar to the bad or unkind person, 不善人. So our takeaway from the sage's example is that, well, we know that both of the above, the normal and the reverse, are characters, but they're just mirror images of one another. So then among human beings, we can see, using that same reasoning, that the unkind person and the kind person, they are both just people. Indeed, in the Tao, the sages recognize that nobody is all good, nobody is all bad. Like the yin and yang symbol, there's yin within yang, yang within yin, denoting the fact that no matter how good someone is, there's a little bit of the complementary opposite in that person. And in a similar way, no matter how horrible another person is, there's the seed of goodness somewhere. So either way, everybody is just human being just people. So then the sage made the point that to be able to tell that the character is reversed and be able to tell that it's the same character, being literate, being able to read and write is the key. Because being literate enables your recognition of the character itself as well as the character in reverse. You map that to human beings and you get this. To know the Tao, the goodness and the kindness, that is what enables you to recognize distortions in human nature. It helps you identify the goodness and kindness in people. It also helps you identify when those attributes are distorted so that the people who are not so good, not so kind, you realize that they are distorted versions of the Tao, perhaps because they're misled, that they haven't discovered the Tao yet, they haven't worked on themselves very much, and that is the reason. So bringing this back to the two lines that you see at the bottom, the treasure of the kind person, the protection of the unkind person, this is basically saying that the Tao treats everyone as people, does not make distinctions between the two, and the people who are good, that's great. They will reap the positive results of being good. Those who are not good, they always have a chance to turn things around for themselves. So the Tao does not abandon them. And this is the point that we're going to be getting into next. Our meeting has come to an end, but the journey continues on. Let us all travel safely so we can meet again. Until next time, may the Tao fill you with peace and happiness.